right, let's stay domestic and talk about the shutdown. Hans, how many days into shutdown are we?
Doesn't matter. It
All
matters
right.
how much
Yeah.
further we're going to
Okay.
go.
Nothing happened again today, pretty much. Here's a Mike Johnson soundbite that could have been uttered pretty much at any point during the entire thing. This is number 5, please.
And it's also important for us to note this is the first time in history that any party has had the audacity to shut down the government over a totally clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution. This is a political stunt, and it's the first time it's been done, and it is the most costly, most selfish, most dangerous political stunt in the history of the United States Congress, because as we have stood here day after day after day explaining all the Americans who are being harmed by this nonsense. And the Senate Democrats have zero shame about this. They don't have any shame at all about the pain that they're inflicting upon hardworking families, upon soldiers and law enforcement officers and veterans and the elderly and the disabled and women, infants, and children. Services to all those categories and paychecks to those folks are being stalled because Democrats are playing games.
As you both know, I'm very parsimonious with my Pinocchios, but I would give some of those statements for Pinocchios. Hans, how would you rate what the speaker said, and where do things stand now?
Ted Cruz would like a word, right? I mean, some of the previous shutdowns, right? Look, leave the Pinocchio stuff aside, and I think we're probably all right that, like, that when the shoe's been on the foot, Democrats have been making this argument. My bigger question is, why isn't the Mike Johnson argument cutting through at all? And it doesn't seem to be. And so I yield to Kristin, who, like, I write bad stories. She tries to put them in the bloodstream. I just yield to Kristin on that. It just doesn't seem to be cutting through. Even the polling, like, Republicans will say that it's moving in our direction, but it's still like a 50, it's still a jump ball, right? I mean, there's like nothing's really broken on the polling. So it's not cutting through, and I don't know why.
Kristin?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had a hard time. Just if you look in the past, when one party holds all branches of government, I just feel like you're in an uphill battle to try to push the blame on the other party. So that's why I think there's just that stalemate. I am curious to see if it does continue to go through November, how that's going to play out, particularly in the Virginia elections that are coming. So, I mean, if I go up to Pennsylvania, people might not know what I'm talking about. If I go across the river to Virginia, there's a lot of people who are affected. So it just kind of, that might, shake things up a little bit. I would like to see, if particularly because healthcare is part of this, and the extension of the, ACA, the Obamacare credits is involved, maybe we could cut through if we were more proactive in a solution to that, right? Maybe, instead of just saying, let's pass the clean CR and then talk about it, like, let's get some of those ideas out there, because more and more healthcare is not just a healthcare issue. And this is something that I think Republicans particularly need to understand now, not later. Healthcare is an economic issue now, and it's more and more becoming so. And I think it's going to be a huge issue in the midterms next year. So I would like to see us put forward, here's our solution for this, make some news that way. And then Democrats really don't have anything to complain about, because we're offering a solution on healthcare. Okay, let's reopen the government. Let's go get it done.
So maybe this is something you guys have both thought about a million times, and maybe I've missed it, but it seems just from what you said, there's kind of two truisms about blame in a shutdown. One is, if you control all three branches, as Kristin said, you're going to get blamed. But the other is, the party that is not for a clean CR has typically been blamed. But in this case, one party's one and one party's the other. And maybe that accounts for the fact that, as you had said, Hans, the polls are basically mixed. Do either of you feel, well, let's be optimistic. Kristin, where's currently the dialogue for a compromise? Is it Vance Schumer? Is it Schumer Johnson? Is it Collins Johnson? Where's the pair that is going to speak that will be the green shoot that gets us to solve this?
I actually think it's going to be, I think Thune is going to be heavily involved.
Yeah.
And I think Vance will be heavily involved. And I don't think it will be Schumer. I think it's going to be
a gang of some moderate Democrats.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be, it won't be Johnson himself. I think there's going to be a gang of House Republicans who are going to kind of come together. Johnson might lead them, but it's going to be, particularly some Republicans in these tough districts, and some older, Republicans who've been through a few shutdowns might come together.
Hans, what do you think of that?
I think it's basically fair. I think, to me, the conversation I'm looking for is to Shaheen Peters. So Shaheen's sort of leading the 4 Democratic votes to keep it open. Senator Shaheen from New Hampshire. Peters is technically for keeping it shut down and not passing the clean CR, but I feel like Peters wants to get to yes. So the Shaheen Peters conversation is interesting to me. It's really going to be interesting to me to see how Trump handles this when he has everyone at the patio, the Rose Garden patio, I guess we call it now, the
Yeah.
patio.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
tomorrow night, right? Or is
that's
it
tomorrow
tonight?
lunch.
Tomorrow lunch,
So,
right? Right.
and the question to me is, does Trump try to lock him into his position, which is no negotiate?
Right.
Because the Democratic hope on this is that Trump gets off the sideline and forces Mike Johnson to cut a deal and forces Thune to cut a deal. Our reporting indicates that Trump is just as dug in.
Yeah.
And so the question is, does Trump freeze Republicans as well on his position? And then this shutdown could be even longer than many of us expect.
Yeah, Cozy Earth makes the bedding, it makes the pants, makes the shirts, makes it all. Viscose from bamboo helps wick away moisture if it's hot. Also keeps you very warm when it's cold. I don't know how to do it. I don't want to say it's magic or witchcraft or voodoo, but there's something about the stuff, including the famous bubble cuddle blanket. Gabe, you got a bubble cuddle blanket? You don't, do you? You should. Go right now to cozyearth.com. Put in the promo code 2way for 20% off the best pants and joggers and shirts and bedding. Get their famous 100-day return policy on the bedding and 10-year warranty. Really, you can't go wrong. This stuff is hyperallergenic. It's organic. It's vegan. I don't know who's eating this stuff, but it's vegan if you want to take a bite of some of the clothes. No harmful chemicals. It's all good stuff. And I'll say, as I do every night, you would not believe how comfortable the pants are. Somebody saw me wearing jeans this weekend, and they said, "Where are your Cozy Earth pants?" Every so often, I got to wash them. Just the reality of the pants. Anyway, go to cozyearth.com, promo code 2way for 20% off. They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the 2way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and 2way tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.